What's up, guys? Welcome to another home theater hangout. Today's a special one. We've got the guys from SVS over here. We got Nick and Smith. What's up, guys?
What's going on,
How
Shane?
what's going on?
So, Nick, I think most of the people that are going to be watching this probably know who you are. But this is the first time that I've met Smith. I don't know who Smith is. Smith, why don't you tell the guys who you are? What do you do at SVS?
I am the title is Senior Director of Product Management. So I'm the product guy. So all the product development from industrial design, the way it looks, the way it sounds, what it's made out of, that's all under on my shoulders. But of course, it's a team effort. So Gary's very involved with that. Gary Yakubian's the CEO and lots of other parts of the team. But I'm the product guy. Nick's the marketing guy.
The,
I'm the product guy.
And Smith's one of the most humble people you'll ever come across, but don't let his austere finish. He's a genius, an absolute audio genius. So he won't take that credit, but having worked with a lot of other folks in the industry, I can tell you that Smith has got it buttoned up.
Thank you.
nice, nice. So that's how you had you had all these years to perfect the new 17-inch subs. How many years has it been between the 16 and the 17?
I think was it like 8 years, something like that, I think. Yeah, so I mean, really the way we do product development, once we get something to a place where we're happy with it and we launch it, we're probably already thinking about, oh, what do we should do this on the next one and this on the next one and this on the next one. I mean, it's so I'll take a minute to breathe a little bit while we launch 17 Ultra, but
Yeah.
we're already thinking about
Yeah,
the next stuff.
and just to add a little color, I mean, subwoofers. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to assume that the technology does not really change all that much. You have your driver, you have your amplifier, you have the core parts of the ecosystem within the subwoofer. But having doing the marketing for it, I get to learn all the inner workings and sort of how to express the stuff that Smith and his team are doing in a way that actually resonates with people. And it's been so interesting and a learning experience for me as well, just to see how much you can push the envelope past what we did with 16 Ultra, because we thought, wow, this is like end game level. And then to not really make the cabinets all that much bigger, but to add as much output and low frequency extension they did, and not really have to raise the price all that much. To me, it was sort of a masterstroke for what Smith and his team accomplished.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. It's the marketing guy.
Such kind words. So you're saying they're essentially the same size, both of the PBs,
It-
16 and 17?
yeah, yeah. The overall depth is a little different because of the grills. We changed the grills a bit on the new ones,
Yeah,
but
I heard.
the actual cabinet is the exact same dimensions. I mean,
Okay.
within a couple of
Yeah.
millimeters.
And a big part of that was the front panel display that we had on the 16 Ultras. That took up some real estate. And, it
Mhm.
was great when you had the remote and the app was just launching, so you could have that two-way feedback. We weren't sure how much people were actually going to be using the app, even though, it was the most, simple and convenient way to manage the sub. With, that being used so heavily and working as well as it did, we didn't really see the need to have the front panel. And some people, obviously, when you turn the light off, you have this panel with no, digital display really lit up. So it was like, you know what, we can get more driver size without having to make the subwoofers that much bigger. And knowing lifestyle considerations, what they are, it made a lot of sense to do that.
Yeah. Were you guys the first ones with the Subwoofer app, or was it somebody else?
I think we came out with ours like within the minute, the same time ELAC came out with theirs, and so that was it's a funny little history story because it's when we came out with the 16 Ultras, that front display seemed like a must because it was so new and so foreign to have a subwoofer controlled by an app on your phone.
Yeah.
And so we're like, I think people really need that affirmation that the thing I'm doing here is really doing something there beyond just what you're hearing. And so we kept that display for the 4000 series, and then it was when we launched the 3000 series that we started migrating away from that. And
Hmm.
I think the universe has spoken. Like everybody's comfortable now, and so the display doesn't really serve that utility that used to be kind of necessary.
And I sometimes forget we actually had like a credit card remote that came with it too, and
Yeah, I
nobody
remember
used
that.
that. It was just like
Yeah.
it's sort of like, well, we don't know. We got to make
So,
sure that the people are going to use the app and they're going to like it and feel
yeah,
comfortable.
yeah,
But they were like, I lost it within the first day. A lot of people did, so it was that app really just took over, and that was a big
yeah.
reason why we got rid of the display.
Yeah, it's like everybody's got one now.
Hmm.
Yep.
One thing that I did notice when I shot the unboxing and I kind of went through the app really quick, weren't you guys supposed to have more bands of PEQ in that? Was it? Because I remember.
So yeah, when there are, you need to update your app. The app update that just launched, I think we just pushed it live last week. That
Okay.
unlocked the going from 3 to 6 PEQs on the
Right.
17 Ultras. So it's only the
Okay.
17 Ultras that have the DSP that supports this extra 3 PEQs, but
Mm.
there's more updates to come with more features. So
Hey.
we're not done.
Room EQ, am I correct on that one?
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
That'll be
How
the
is that
big one.
gonna? Would that work with just the internal mic on the phone?
The plan is to have at least that. That's what I can say. So it will work with the microphone in your mobile device. Yeah.
But it will work with external mics too, correct?
We do have a plan for an external microphone, yeah.
Well, I mean, other ones,
Hey.
like even if you don't have one that necessarily came from SVS, you could still use another external mic. Or am I feeding live now, Smith?
Well, no. Our
Okay.
plan is that we're in the process of developing a microphone that's going to go
Yeah.
with it. I don't know if
I've
I'm
already told other
talking
people
about
that,
that.
Smith, so if you feel like
Oh,
that's
okay.
too long,
All
then
right.
maybe,
That's good.
so actually, breaking news, huh? External mic from SVS. So, all right.
Yeah,
I'll take the hit for that one if
okay,
I'm
great.
I've been telling people that already.
Okay, yeah, great. No, that totally. So we're gonna have a microphone that goes as just another way to interface with the auto EQ system. That's going to be in the app.
Oh, sweet,
So
awesome.
you'll have two ways.
That's hitting during Christmas time, right?
I will not comment on the time for the auto EQ because
There's some
we're
variables involved, but we're
yeah
certainly going to have it very early in 2025, if not by the end of the year. But
Yeah.
we don't want to promise something and not deliver on it, so I can at least say
Yeah.
early 2025. But certainly we're pushing the envelope to get it done as soon as possible.
yeah.
Oh, sweet. All right. Breaking news, guys. You heard it here first.
External mic. I mean, whoa, who knew SVS? Wow.
So let's talk about these subs. Smith, it looks like the finish here. Is this a satin black? What color is this?
No, that is Eli's rendering work. That is supposed to be the gloss finish. But yeah, they come in two
Okay.
finishes. They come in a piano gloss black, and they come in a real wood veneer black oak. Which personally, I think the oak looks amazing, but and then I have the gloss in my other room. But yeah,
We were talking about the finish earlier. You said there was 9 layers of gloss of clear coat on it, or
yeah. So all of our gloss subwoofers, black and white gloss, it's at least 9 layers of
yeah.
surface finish to get that, and the last I think 6 layers, you basically have a process of painting and buffing and polishing and painting and buffing just to kind of really get that mirror finish, which is why I think we have some of the best gloss finishes out there.
Yeah.
And the wood finish, it's a veneer, so it's not like a vinyl wrap that looks like wood.
Mhm.
So that's like a real premium finish as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean like it's made out of like actual wood, or?
No, it's a real wood veneer. It's a real oak.
Oh,
that's
really?
stained
Oh, I
that's
didn't know
stained
that.
black. Yeah, and so each black oak subwoofer, the grain patterns are a little bit different, and yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's my favorite. I
Yeah,
think it's
they're
Oh.
all one of a kind.
Oh, interesting. I always thought it was just like a vinyl faux wood veneer.
we
Okay,
do use
makes sense.
a vinyl on some of the
Yeah.
smaller, less premium subwoofers, but yeah, we use the black oak on the 17 Ultras, and also on the
Yeah.
Ultra Evolution loudspeakers. Those ones also use a real wood black oak veneer.
Oh, look at that. I had no idea. All right. So what's new? What's new with these new subs here?
Can we start with the driver? I got another picture here. Let's see.
Yeah.
I got to stop sharing and reshare. Smith, I mean, I would say let's start with the dual voice coil design and why we went 17 inches, and let's start there.
So typically, some companies may find it really easy to just take what they've already done and to just kind of respin it. Um, and so we decided to make our lives much harder and not do that. It uses a all new 8-inch voice coil. That big voice coil there, that's 8 inches diameter. And so that's probably the only thing that we kind of knew we wanted to take from the previous 16 Ultras and race forward with. And so that voice coil is actually what's called a dual voice coil. So it's two individual windings of copper wire that are going around the bobbin. And so that allows us to drive one woofer with two amplifier channels at the same time. So we'll kind of get into that. But that became the jumping off point to make a new 17-inch driver. And so we grew the diameter of the driver, increasing the radiating surface area, and allowing us, higher. That in itself allows us some higher SPL and lower extension. And that 8-inch voice coil becomes really important because that's kind of what we've learned through development is a great way to move a really large cone without flex or distortion, and to keep such a large diaphragm rigid. You can imagine if you had a little tiny 1-inch voice coil on a giant cone, the cone would just be distorting and flexing all over the place. So an 8-inch voice coil allows us to really control with great precision a huge 17-inch radiating area. And then from there, we literally reinvented. We had to reinvent everything. So it's an all new cast aluminum basket. It's a completely new motor structure. It's completely retuned suspension, two spiders. And I mean, one of the cool things, or what I think is cool. I won't. Not everybody thinks everything's.
I think you're in good company.
I think
we all think it's cool.
we're in good company. What I think is cool is that to do an 8-inch voice coil, you literally have to invert the way the motor and the magnet structure works. Typically, you have a voice coil, maybe it's a 1-inch or 3-inch or 4-inch, and the magnets go around it. And so the permanent magnets are making a steady state magnetic field, and that's what the voice coil is reacting against. And the voice coil lives inside of the magnet. To do an 8-inch voice coil, though, you flip that. So actually all the magnets and the shorting rings and everything are living inside of the voice coil. They live inside that gap. So that's why you don't see the magnets necessarily, and that big black thing in the back there. That's literally the yoke, the structure that contains all the magnets inside of that, and they all live inside of the voice coil. So anyway, it is a ridiculous driver. And so
the motor, it's 4 toroidal ferrite magnets between 50 and 60 pounds, roughly?
There's four magnets in there. And so toroidal, for those that are curious, just basically means donut shaped.
You just made it sound so less technical now, but that's all right.
That's a fun way to think about it.
Can we use donut shape for the next one instead of toroidal?
We can do that. I'm okay with that. Donuts are
What's
delicious.
What's the weight difference between the SB16 and the 17?
The total system weight?
Yeah.
I think actually if you include everything, we got a little lighter.
Really?
Is that right, Nick? I don't have those.
They're
specs right in front
almost
of me.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
But again, with the way that these are manufactured without the front panel and some of the other things that we did internally with the cabinet, they produce significantly more output and deeper extension, but are roughly the same weight. And a lot of volumes the same size too.
Weight doesn't necessarily equate to quality or chain, or performance, right? And so the 16 Ultras had a metal grill, which was very heavy. So that's weight loss that's gone, and also allows us to have a slightly smaller footprint. The amplifier in the set.
I missed that grill.
There's Varying opinions
There
on
might
that.
be an aftermarket for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so to each their own. But currently, we are no longer we are moving away from that metal grill. Um, but the one of the big things is that while the cabinet dimensions are the same, and the driver is heavier, the amplifier is completely new. And so,
Hmm.
um, not to besmirch the amplifier that's in the 16 Ultra, but the new amplifier is a completely different animal. And so, the main thing about that new amplifier is that it's actually a four channel amplifier. And so, of those four channels, we bridge them into two mono blocks. Each one of those mono blocks is driving each of the voice coil windings in the woofer. And so I don't know if anybody's doing this, but part of the reason that we're doing it is because it allows us a pathway to just deliver ridiculous amounts of power to this driver. And one of the best things about an 8-inch voice coil is that it can handle ridiculous amounts of power. So
Yeah.
that was one of the big things we learned when we developed 16 Ultra is just the capacity of this driver is actually so much more than at that time we had the ability to deliver to it. And so the 17 Ultra's the big jumping off point was how do we make an amplifier that delivers prodigiously more power because this driver can take it.
And I think on top of that too, I mean, we did one thing we did carry over from the 16 Ultras, and that's been consistent with every model since then, is the discrete MOSFET output, which has its own sort of acoustic benefits and power management benefits as well. So Smith, you can speak much more intelligently about that than I can. But that was one of the things that we wanted to maintain moving up to the new reference subwoofers was that MOSFET output stage.
Yeah. So yeah, and in a lot of subwoofer amplifier designs, you kind of have what are called like chip amps, and then you have discrete amplifiers. And a discrete amplifier, in the case of ours, uses discrete MOSFETs to deliver the current that you need to drive the amplifier and drive the power to the driver. And so we're using I forget. I think it's like 200-volt MOSFETs, something like that. And we have it on the website. But yeah, it was a totally new amplifier, just ground up. The power supplies, ground up new amplifier, ground up new power supply, ground up new DSP, ground up new amplifier set. It's just end to end. We kind of rebuilt the whole amplifier. We even changed like some of our thinking of what are the best practices, normal practices for developing amplifiers. And part of the reason, sorry if I'm rambling, but one of the reasons we did that was because with the new DSP, we use an analog devices. DSP Analog Devices is an integrated circuit manufacturer, and so they make really great, really high performance digital signal processors. And that DSP that we are using with the new ones is 5, almost 6 times the processing speed of the previous generation. And that really kind of opened up pathways to do a whole lot of stuff in the processing of the amplifier and the power management that was never possible before.
Yeah, I mean, when you have this kind of subwoofer, you're really up against, the what's possible, like the amount of power running through this. You're up against what's possible from a normal 15 amp home AC circuit, and we wanted to be cognizant of that and not force people to have to go out and upgrade their electrical lines and have some special line conditioner or anything like that in order to be able to run the subwoofer. And especially when it's hitting those peak moments, cinematic explosions, things like that. It's not causing the air conditioning to shut off or tripping breakers and things like that. And so, there's essentially a built-in line conditioner on the within the subwoofer amplifier to really mitigate against that, and power factor correction and all these things sort of interplay. And we're all able to do that because of this Analog Devices DSP. And so, again, I credit Smith because I think a lot of, if you have a subwoofer the size, you might just say, oh, well, accept the fact that you're going to need more power going to it or more capacity to be able to run it in terms of voltage. And Um, we really wanted to, make this easy to run off of any home AC circuit.
So
So,
what was the rationale? Like most common subwoofers, common size are like the 15. You guys went with the 16. Obviously, most common next size up would be like an 18. You guys went with a 17. Why did you pick 17?
I mean, some of it comes down to just logistical things that we didn't want to make the subwoofer bigger, right? I think you said you had PB16s before,
Yeah,
and you have an SV17 now. Like
yeah.
it's not a small product, and to to kind of make a canvas for a driver and an amplifier that are going to deliver the acoustic output like that, you need a cabinet that is rigid enough, um, well braced enough to support that kind of acoustic delivery. So that's why we use double thick MDF on the front baffles. That's why there's extensive bracing throughout the cabinets, and so if you want to go even bigger and bigger, like the box starts getting bigger and bigger, and then it becomes a challenge, to a logistical challenge. Like how do you get it in through the door? Um, and so we kind of found that the 17 was just about the biggest we could make that driver without um, having to re-engineer how people get a big box into their home. Um, and it kind of, I mean, the other part of it is that the 17 really, through simulations and then through samples and development, we found that that was kind of the sweet spot for this ecosystem.
And you guys upgraded your, I've had some like really big subwoofers and like 21s or so in here
Hmm.
that I thought would give me some crazy infrasonics. And when I had tested this movie here, which is the first thing I when I unboxed the SB17, I did put this demo on the first one. But I've had some big ones that have really failed that demo because
Hmm.
there were no kind of protection to keep the drivers from like over excursion, and it would just like
Yep.
flop around and sound really bad. And these are expensive subwoofers too that I actually bought myself. You guys might win something if you know what subwoofer it is. I'm not going to say what it is because they're going to come with the pitchforks for me. But did you guys upgrade your DSP to help prevent any of that kind of
That
overexcursion?
that yeah, the amplifier is not just there to deliver the current and the voltage you need to move the driver and make SPL. The DSP and the amplifier have to be designed as an ecosystem with the whole product in mind to also control it. And so, there's a lot of reasons why a particular driver or subwoofer may go into like tons of distortion, really high THD, or just start falling apart when you give it the task of Edge of Tomorrow. Um, and so, really, like our approach is always to kind of overbuild everything and to always make sure there's headroom, lots of headroom in everything that we do. Um, and so, you know, the I mean, without trying to get into like a super technical, like this is how you build a digital signal processor for a subwoofer. Like there's a ton of things that go into it that monitor every element of the system. So we're literally monitoring the temperature in the box. We're monitoring the impedance of the driver at every moment. We're monitoring all these different elements in the amplifier, including the mains voltage coming out of the wall and what we're delivering to the amplifier section, what's happening to the signal in the DSP. And then we're running all these models on layered on top of that. This is what the driver teal small parameters are, and this is the model of the acoustic model of the system. All these things get layered on top of each other and build stability and rigidity to the control of the system and to deliver the pure signal, to deliver the intended content as it's required at the level that it's required as best as it can. Um, to do all
Yeah,
that requires a lot of processing power, and that's when I kind of get back to the digital signal processor, that DSP. You can't do that without a lot of processing horsepower.
yeah, and it's much easier. to build a subwoofer exclusively to like wind tractor pulls. Like all you're trying to do is get it to play as loud as possible and as low as possible. Not that that's easy, but I think what Smith is talking about here really speaks to how the analog devices DSP is sort of like the unsung hero. It's doing so much behind the scenes, and I don't think anyone's really thinking about, oh, I got to look at the, DSP spec when shopping for a subwoofer. It's just not something that I think enters a lot of people's minds, but it does have such a profound effect on heat management, heat dissipation, how musical it sounds, how quickly it's able to respond and, operate under different conditions. And I think that's why we've really tried to make a big deal about it to educate people that this is a pretty drastic advancement in terms of subwoofer technology, and using 295 megahertz. It's really sort of unprecedented, something you would normally find in like an external processor. So again, it's one of those things where we knew we had to push the envelope. And what is it, 6 times more powerful than what the 16 Ultra had, which was a 50 megahertz. So that's a pretty significant leap forward as far as the brains that we were able to put into this the new models.
Well, this question, let me ask you guys this question here, since we're talking about 6 times more powerful DSP. Would an SB16 owner see the value in an upgrade here, or is the $2,500 best spent on other component changes?
I'm completely biased, so it's hard to ask me. But
No.
I have done that change in my primary 2-channel listening room, and I will never look back. I think it.
Just to say that we're not
but I'm
completely.
totally biased.
Yeah, well, yeah, and if you're looking at it from like an outsider, unbiased perspective, it I hate that it depends response, but if you're listening at moderate levels and you're not really looking for that, really infrasonic output that you could actually. I mean, the 16 Ultras really do kick ass. So like, it's hard to say that that's not going to be enough for most people, but to Smith's point, if you know what you like and you like to play at loud volumes and you want to have that extra level of precision and control and the benefits of the auto EQ room correction and the extra parametric EQs, there's a load of reasons why an upgrade makes a lot of sense. And again, he asked, instead of spending it elsewhere, I mean, if you're running like a CRT TV, then I would say you're probably going to want to upgrade that. But again, like there's a lot of variables within there that make it difficult to say carte blanche, yes or no. But hopefully we're able to straddle the fence a little bit there and, help this valued viewer make a decision.
So he's saying, yes, buy the new 17 high cost.
I mean, we should say the 16 Ultras are on sale for Black Friday. So, if you wanted to go dual with those, now you got another equation to factor in there.
So RM is going to add the 17 Ultra to his system that already has 2 16 Ultras and 1 PC13. So I'm excited to integrate it all together. Do you think, is that a smart move, or do you think it's just better to stick with all 17s? Do you think integrating all those together makes sense, or would that be real difficult to get the best response? Or
as long as they're all, I mean, he has a PC13, so I'm going to assume that he has 2 PB16s. I would, as long as you're keeping within similar families of ported and sealed, I think that then integration is absolutely possible, and you can just build on the capacity, the low frequency capacity of the whole thing, and just get a more even based response and better dynamics. If you're trying to integrate ported boxes and sealed boxes in the same system, that's very challenging and not recommended. Just because the phase response in the bottom end, to try and get those to all play nice together at your listening position, it's rarely have I seen it work. But if you're integrating lots of different ported subs and you're integrating lots of, or integrating lots of different sealed subwoofers, totally works. Yeah, absolutely. More better.
Fergus, RM, you've got some work ahead of you. Sounds like.
Shane, can we digress? Can we give something away? Is that allowed?
Whoa, you want to give something away? Okay. Yeah, what do you got?
I mean, I think it's the holiday season, and we know not everyone has room for a PB17 or an SB17. So we want to do an SB1000 Pro subwoofer. This is one of our most popular models. Compact dynamite here. It's a great sub. It's about a 12-inch driver and basically a 13-inch cabinet. So you can put this thing in your den, your bedroom, wherever you want it. But Shane, you gotta figure out a way to pick a winner, and we will ship it out within a week if you get somebody lucky who wants to bring home a new sealed subwoofer.
Oh man, okay. So since we're talking about subwoofers and we're talking about Edge of Tomorrow earlier, what is what is your go-to? Let's name everybody's that's in the chat today. We got a lot of folks here today. I mean, you guys always pulling the viewers. We got 96 people here tonight.
We even teased the giveaway. This is all you, Shane. Usually, we get out with the giveaway ahead of it, and then people are like, "Oh, I'm going to tune in for that," but this is all you, man.
I think they know when you're on. When SVS is on, Nick is always giving something away, so they'll come in.
The only reason people like me. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
So we're talking about bass tonight. Let's talk about our go-to movie. What's the first movie you guys pop in? Also in the chat, type down your go-to movie that you always must pop in every time you want to show off your subwoofer. You just want to show off the bass. What's got killer bass? Type in your go-to movie in the chat, and then I'll pick a winner maybe after this or maybe another day or so. We'll figure it out, see how many answers we get. But let's start with you, Nick. What is your go-to movie to show off your bass and your subwoofer?
Well, we have I'll give a top three, which is, these are what we have always with every audio show that we go to. These have been, the ones, and I think one of them most people will know if they ever talk to Larry or listen to any of Larry, our national training manager, who's always doing these shows. The first one is Ninja Turtles with Megan Fox, and it's the scene where they're going down like a snowy mountain with like a big rig and trucks that are chasing them. And about 30 seconds to a minute into this, there's this bass sweep that goes down to about, 12, 13 hertz, and it just completely rattles the walls. And it's a real challenge for any kind of subwoofer to be able to play that without distorting or without just cutting out, having the limiters kick in and say, sorry, I'm quitting here. It's one of those scenes that I think just really shows people how potent and visceral low frequencies can be. It's not my favorite. I got to say, it's a little too jarring for me. Kind of like Super 8, that train scene. Like that is just like in the oil rig scene from the one where it's exploding in the middle of the water. Like those to me are almost unpleasantly like palpable. Like they just hurt too much. But I've still, my throwback that I always love to bring up is the Tron Legacy Light Cycle Battle. Like that one is musical. I love some Daft Punk, and it doesn't go super low, but it's got great rhythm, great beat, and it's just a scene that I love to play because it's good, family-friendly fun, and one of the first demos that we really acquainted people with when we started showing off our subs at these audio shows and whatnot.
Yeah, I popped that in often. That light cycle is just so. What do you mean it doesn't go low? I feel like it goes pretty low.
It goes low, and there's like a few infrasonic moments, like when he's walking down the steps right at the beginning. Like there's a part where it's like, and it's sort of like it's this gentle rumble, and that's one of the lower notes. It definitely hits low, but it compared to like Ninja Turtles, that's more what I was saying. It's got more in like the 25, 30 hertz region, I think, than below, and even approaching single digits.
I love Larry, but I can't stand that demo.
It's awful.
Whenever I see it, I leave the room. I can't.
He's a one-trick pony, but and then my last one I'll throw in there. You asked for one, I'm gonna just keep running off here. It's the Godzilla versus Kong fight scene where they're like jumping between the two battleships, and it's just chaos. But surprisingly controlled explosions and whatnot. Like there's a lot of nuance and some dialogue mixed in there that I think also shows it as a good home theater demo scene, and not just bombastic over the top bass like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, they're coming. I put giveaway in the title. I just updated the title. They're coming for you, Nick.
And by the way, I'm going to steal most of these, and we're going to do like a playlist and put it on our blog and whatnot. So thanks for all the inspiration, guys, and also update my Blu-rays for future demos. So excuse me.
What do you got, Smith?
The first couple, I don't have as long a list as Nick.
It's only three.
The first couple that come to my mind are some of the cannon fire from in Master and Commander.
Oh yeah,
it's a really well recorded movie, and so there's a lot of it's kind of like what Nick's saying about Ninja Turtle. Like Ninja Turtles is like make you sick bass. But Master and Commander is like bass minutia and like subtlety and textures and textural. So I actually really enjoy that. The other one that always comes to my mind, and I use it more as a test. From the first Matrix movie, the scene where the helicopter crashes into the building and you get the glass kind of ripples up. It's actually a very challenging test for a lot of subwoofers, and not necessarily because of how deep it goes, but because of the nature of the signal, where basically you have this crescendo into this massive bass signal, and then the camera cuts away to Neo on the roof, and then and the bass basically drops, and then it cuts right back to the crash, and the bass just explodes back up, and I've seen subwoofers die trying to trying to deliver that at a worthwhile playback levels, and so I like to do that pressure
True
test.
torture test. You can actually
Yeah.
finish them with that one if you want. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, I think most people know if they've watched any of my subwoofer reviews. I always have like the same like 3 or 4 that I always use. But my favorite is still always going to be still Fury. Just, the tanks, boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's just like quick, super percussive. Even the quieter scenes where they're going through the plans, you can hear the tanks in the background, just the rumble. The air just rumbles. If your sub can pick it up, it just rumbles in the background. So there's some very slight infrasonics there, which some of the smaller subs can't pick up. But I mean, the SB3000 definitely worked awesome in that scene. It's such a small sub. I just love that because it has a lot of deep bass, and then also just really just forceful tactile bass, which is I just feel like it covers like a full spectrum. So it's definitely like one of my go-tos. I know everybody they're always like, dude, I can't wait for your Edge of Tomorrow demo because you're gonna ruin subs or whatever. I only do that because I like to start high and then go all the way down low. Let's face it, not too many subwoofers are really gonna do that demo justice, but some of them come through. If you want to go, obviously, if you really just jam out on that, you're gonna just destroy most subs. But for the most part, a normal levels, a good quality sub, like the SB17. That's the first thing I popped in. I was like, oh shoot, like just one of them in my living room. I was like, oh my god, this does sound awesome. That was before I even hooked up 2. Yeah, so Fury is my go-to. Of course, I have other stuff. I always put in Ready Player One, and then
That's a
The
great
Greatest Showman. Intro to that is just awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious, Shane. Do you are there, because obviously you've established reference tracks where it's all about the depth and the output. Are there tracks, whether movies or music, that you look at for that transient response or that ability to be musical? I'm curious, like, how that thought process is, because again, it's one of those things where I don't think everyone is like, well, tell me how quick it is in terms of stopping and starting on a dime, and it's not easy to articulate that or find content that does a great job of really showing that quality.
Yeah, so there's one that I think it's a fairly old track. It's from Yim Hawk Man, or is it Hawk Yim Man? It's the Asian dude, Japanese drums. I forget the actual name on it. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh, is it?
I
think Duet. We started playing this on our Ultra Evolution speakers at some of the shows, and it was they have there's multiple layers of instrumentals on it, but there is some percussion in it that hits pretty low, but I don't know if we're talking about the same thing here.
Good, I can't find it now.
There's like there was an instrument in it that somebody introduced us to it at Axpona, and it's sort of like, it almost sounds like a kung fu movie like intro. I can't remember the name of the instrument now, but there's some great percussion that comes afterwards with like the big drums that you would hear during a samurai battle, I guess. I don't know.
Possibly. Somebody will know in the chat. But I think it's Yam Hickman. Sorry, he's a Japanese dude. I don't know why it's not on my demo list. But that's one. I'll think of it, I'm sure, at some point in time, and then I'll remember it. So that's one. I also like to Dominique Fils-Aimé. Home is a great track. We love that track. I'm sure you guys have heard that song.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty audiophile. I think people are just tired of it now, but I'm getting tired of it myself. But I still listen to it myself. And then, of course, listen, in my private time, I always throw on some Taylor Swift, because Taylor Swift is,
But you're a kindred soul with our CEO. Gary is an absolute Swiftie, and he makes his wife go to concerts with him because, like, it's embarrassing to go by yourself as a 67-year-old man. So, you know what? You're in good company, and I think we're all secret Swift, at least the music admirers just based on the production value. And, she's got a nice set of pipes. So, what's not to respect about that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're a billionaire at her age, her concert was awesome. I went to the concert. I didn't think I was going to like it. My wife drugged me to go, and I was like, but yeah, I had a good time. It was like a 3-hour show. I was like, okay, this is pretty darn cool. Of course, we listened to when we went to, when I saw you guys at Audio Advice Live, we drove from Connecticut to, was in North Carolina for 9 hours.
Oh, boy.
Gosh, it was like 9 hours of Taylor Swift. I was like, come on.
There is a threshold, though, there, I will say. A couple songs, okay, it's catchy, but you got to draw the line somewhere.
Man, I wish I could just figure. Oh, that's it. Hold on, I just found it. Yim Hawk Man. China Hawk Man Yim. Poems of Thunder, Percussion. The first song is Poem of Chinese Drum.
Yeah, I think I know this one. I think I've heard it. It is good.
Yeah. So I love that one. It's very percussive, the drum just pop, pop, they pop, and then you can kind of hear I don't know what the technical term is, but I guess there's like little springs and stuff on the drums itself. It kind of like reverbs a little bit. You can hear that through the speakers, but then the drums are just really tight and percussive, just pop, pop, pop. I remember the SBs rocked on that one. I haven't played it on the SB17 yet, but typically I wouldn't. I'm kind of one of those guys that don't put subwoofers on their 2-channel stereo systems. I'd prefer just to have like a full range speaker do it. But I've been coming around lately, and then so that's one that I will test the SB17 on. But everything, all the movies and stuff so far, it rocks. So, but that's definitely one of the go-to tracks that I listen to, which I think is great. And also, who's that guy with the Victor Wooten? You guys know who Victor Wooten is, right?
Why do I know that?
He plays the bass. You got to know it. You guys in the chat, you guys know Victor Wooten, right?
Write these people down.
Victor Wooten.
My notes.
Yep, here we go. Let me give you the track here. I remember hearing this at one of the shows. I heard it on a Golden Ear Triton speaker at an audio show, New York audio show. I was like, oh my God, it was just like the way, it's called Classical Thump. Oops, sorry. Copyright on that.
Yeah.
But this here, the way he plucks the strings and the way he just kind of like goes through the subwoofer, it's just it's just like airy. It sounds I don't know what it sounds like in your speakers, but it sounds awesome on a pair of electrostats, because you can just hear his finger skin on the strings, and then it just reverb through the subwoofer. It's really good. You guys got to listen to that. So they're like two of my favorite tracks to listen to. And then we always play like the Rolling Stones, Simply for the Devil. We pop that in a lot. Some Lenny Kravitz, some more, normal pop stuff. But those are kind of like...
I'm sorry. No, that's if you listen to Jeff Livingston, I think is his name. He's got like a ridiculously deep bass voice, and it's the lowest voice I've ever heard. It's like Barry White, and I think maybe even a slight octave lower. But we put that on, and usually with our speakers, I don't know. I mean, how you've heard that, right, Smith?
I don't think so.
Oh, Jeff Castellucci. Sorry, Jeff Castellucci is his name, not Jeff Livingston. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's a great test of the accuracy of the sub, because it's the texture in his voice and the way that like you can't hide, the tonal accuracy with a track like that, because there's nothing electric about it. It's just sheer voice, and or there's no like sort of percussive element. So I like that as either testing a full range speaker and how low it can go, or I think it actually does enter into subwoofer territory, and not many people's voices do.
James Earl Jones level.
Yeah, I did see a question though, and I think it's a pretty good one from Mileta Kaliski about plugging the 16 Ultra, but I think it also would be relevant to the 17 Ultras into like a
Okay.
line conditioner or a power strip or directly into the wall. And I think that speaks to some of the stuff we did with the line conditioner on board, right, Smith? And like you actually don't want to. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And actually, this goes for 16 Ultras and the 4000 series, and now the 17 Ultras. Those amplifiers just plug them right into the wall. So you a lot of line conditioners basically have kind of a will actually throttle the whole thing because they can only deliver the current that the amplifier demands according to how they're designed. Um, so the PFC, the power factor correction, it's a two-stage PFC and PFC that's in there, and so those stages are basically taking the wall voltage, breaking it down to DC from alternating current to direct current, cleaning it up, and rebuilding the voltage necessary for the rest of the amplifier. And so you want to just plug that guy right into the wall. Don't put a
But it's
line
not a
conditioner in
surge
there.
protector though, right? Like it won't protect from like a sudden burst,
No,
a lightning strike. So it would be okay
no,
if you have a non-line conditioning surge protector
yeah,
if you wanted to
that's
protect
right.
it.
Yeah, that would be okay. Yeah.
So don't plug in your subs through a power conditioner.
Yeah, so like I have an older PS Audio power plant
Yeah.
Premier, and so I have a lot of kind of low what is effectively like low level electronics that are plugged into it. My turntable's plugged into it, my Denon Universal player, my McIntosh CD player, those things are all plugged into it. But my SB17 is plugged right into the wall. Absolutely.
Okay. So just the regular like a power surge protector that's
Yeah,
more
that's
more than
fine.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that like a lot of the audiophiles. Some audiophiles are like, oh, you got to plug it into the power conditioner for cleaner power. And then some are like, no, you can't do it because it sucks out the life out of your speakers. So
I
it's
think it
like,
I think it kind of depends a little bit. Like it depends on what you're plugging into it. Like this is a 2800 watt continuous power amplifier, um, and that's in the subwoofer. So there's probably not a line conditioner that can actually support that.
hmm,
Um, and so, but for something that's not drawing tons of power, or taking tons of current out of the wall, like a Blu-ray player or a preamp, things like that, I think a line conditioner is definitely safe, right? I mean, I use one for all of my kind of low voltage or lower power electronics, um, and I think it helps incrementally.
yeah, at least with like just speakers and stuff. I don't know if I would be able to tell a difference on a subwoofer. I don't think I ever tried. Usually all the subs are plugged into the wall, but
Yeah.
I feel like I could tell a difference just on like an amp and then to some speakers. I feel like I can hear the difference on a power conditioner. I mean, I've said so many times in my videos, so it's like some people don't believe me, some people do. So it's like these audio people, they get on you for whatever. Hans Zimmer is a good one though. I forgot about that Hans Zimmer live in Prague. That's a
That
good
is
one for
another.
Oh, and the Dark Knight, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, another great one is Tenet. People hate that movie, but I love that movie. That
Oh,
movie's
who
got
hates it?
so much bass
It's
in it.
great. It's so rewatchable. Like I
Yeah,
feel like I get something out of it every time. I've only seen it 3 times. It's long, but it's
yeah,
there's so much going on and so much to sort of process that I like that kind of movie where it feels like I could watch this again and look for stuff that I wasn't paying
yeah,
attention to the last time.
yeah. I mean, pretty much all Nolan's movies are just bass demos.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say almost everything that Nolan has done is demo material.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, those the feet your sound isolation feet, they'll fit on the new 17s, right?
Yep, absolutely. So there's
Okay.
there's 4 feet on the SB17. There's 6 feet on the PB17, and we have 4 packs and 6 packs that align with whichever product you have.
Okay, yeah, because I got like 24 of them laying around the house. I gotta dig them out.
I
Put them to
do
use.
that. Or
So
Yeah,
many of them.
absolutely.
operations uses them on his dryer because it like freaking dances around his like whatever floor it's on, and he's like, God, that thing just shakes, and so we put them on there. So yeah, you can use them for appliances, turntables. You want to put a little air circulation between amps, you can use them on that. We've had people use them for a lot of different purposes. Anytime you just want acoustic, isolation or that decoupling effect. So use your creativity and buy 24 of them like Shane, and be all right.
Yeah, I got like a whole box. When I moved, I was just like, why do I have so many of these things?
You're just hoarding them.
uh,
Good stocking
so
stuffer
what
there. Isolation system. Sorry, I'll stop
yeah,
there.
right? So what are some more test tracks that I should be putting on to test the SB17 with?
It's funny. Smith and I talk about this, and like he gets so like fed up with the same tracks over and over because I feel like he has certain reference tracks, and so you end up hating them. Like even if you liked them at the beginning, it's like, God, I have to listen to this ad nauseum 100 million times. So I would love to know which ones like you've just love to hate because you have to hear them so much, but they have some sort of acoustic property to them or something that allows you to really register whether the subwoofer is doing what it should do. Um, but yeah,
It's
there's
funny. I mean, I have two work playlists. So everybody has lots of playlists, and you're like, oh, this is for my different moods and kind of. I have work music, and so there's kind of like the first line of defense work music, which is especially when we're tuning speakers. And Gary has a great ear. So when we're going through the tuning process. We need kind of common ground when we want to talk about a speaker. In the ways that we talk about what we're hearing. And so that's like my first line of work music is the music where I listen to it over and over and over again. And I know it intimately well, and Gary knows all these tracks intimately well, and we can talk about them. And that's like "Man in a Long Black Coat" by Bob Dylan,
yeah.
and All Blues by Miles Davis. Someday My Prince Will Come by Miles Davis. Oklahoma Sky by Miranda Lambert. There's some, obviously there's Nora Jones in there, and there's some Nine Inch Nails and Perfect Circle, and there's some hard stuff and some lighter stuff. But it's my first thing of advice is if you're going to make like evaluation test tracks for yourself, which I highly recommend. I think it's a great thing and it's fun, right?
Yeah.
But be careful. Don't pick your absolute favorite songs because if you do it too much, you will hate them. And so, Man in a Long Black Coat has casually come on like while driving, and I almost crashed a car because I just couldn't smash the radio fast enough to turn it off because it just gave me a panic attack. I'm like, no, this is work music. So that those are some of the tracks that we kind of use as not just for male vocal and female vocal and high dynamic range, but in different kind of instrumentation, but also for the textural and the nuance of subwoofers. So Someday My Prince Will Come has some just fantastic upright bass content, especially around I think it's like a minute 36. There's a really delicate double pluck that if you don't have the system tuned well, it just you lose the notes. Not only do you lose the decay of the notes, but you lose the separation of them. And so picking out that separation and hearing the precision of the musician, like all of that comes through, including things like hearing like the airiness of the going through a saxophone, not just the sound of a sax, but the textural air of it has low frequency content. So that's a lot of the stuff that's in there. But then my personal music, it's a lot more Tool and Nine Inch Nails and Hot Chip and Daft Punk and a lot of electronic, and then other kinds of jazz.
I like Marion Hill differently, or One More Time. She's got sort of some electronic bass that works in the background, and she's got it's a nice sort of dichotomy between her very soft and female vocals, and then sort of the heavier bass line that they move into the track there. And then I think one of the ones that's most jarring, that I know a lot of people know, but it's just one of those that like completely catches you off guard. The first time you hear it is James Blake, "Limit to Your Love," where it's just that if you haven't heard it, it's like you're hearing, this is a fine song, and it's like, and you're like, what is going
Yeah.
on? And it like we've played it at shows where people haven't heard it, and like they jump a little bit, or they like grab their armrest and their chairs, and so that's a fun one to at least surprise people with, because it just hits like out of nowhere.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I have to check those out then. Took some notes here. One thing before we go here, before we wrap it up, what do you guys think about Bose buying McIntosh?
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I have a lot of emotions about all of that. I have friends that work at Bose, and
Yeah.
I own some I own my. I'm going to be buried someday with my Macintosh CD player. It's like I don't covet many things, but I do covet that CD player.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I
fascinating
mean,
world we
I
live
think
in.
from a business standpoint, it does show that there is quite a bit of consolidation happening, in the mid-fi and the high-end, audio industries now. You've seen like some of the other brands that I think align with SVS, at least from, our market, are owned by much larger corporations now. And, even some of the older ones like Bowers, they were bought up and sold and bought up and sold. And so
Hmm.
it's interesting to see how this is all, moving and shaking. There's very few, in the range that we play at that are still independently owned. And I take a little bit of pride in that. I don't know. It just feels like to have Gary, who's our president, and I know we dropped his name a couple times, but he is so hands on, and
Yeah.
he's got his partners as well. But it's just very much sort of that, hokey old, we're a family, and we
Yep.
truly are, because we're not answering to some corporate behemoth. And we'll get together for our holiday party in December, and it feels like we all remote. Like Smith's in Reno, I'm in Rhode Island. We have our operations in Ohio. Gary's in Maryland. Our U.S. sales guys in Jersey or Pennsylvania. And so we're all spread out, and we do weekly Zooms, and we stay connected that way. I'm totally not answering your question. I'm just going off on a tangent. But
No, I understand. I get what you're
it's
saying. Yeah, for
like
sure.
there's something to be said for that, because again, I think so many of these companies started like that, and it's just hard to maintain that sort of business culture, and that be successful and keep growing, which I think has been the biggest hurdle for a lot of these companies. They just sort of plateaued, and it's hard to continue to grow and innovate. And we've doubled down on our. I mean, Smith will tell you he's had the most aggressive product development and launch schedule that we've ever had. And you see companies that are laying off entire development teams, and that's it's kind of sad. Like I want to see new industries. I want to see launches from our competitors that raise the tide and lift the boats for everyone. But if we have to be a leader in that regard, certainly it's going to be beneficial to SVS. But it is I do wish that, and I hope that this isn't a sign of something where it's like now there's only going to be they're all going to be run like corporations, and not like
Yeah.
that independent audio brand that really built itself through in a different way.
Yeah, it's weird because it's such a legendary, brand or company, and then get bought up by it's like Macintosh is so revered in the audiophile space, and then it's like the opposite end of the spectrum. There's like Bose. The audiophile folks just hate Bose, so it's just like, wow, you would think maybe Macintosh would have bought Bose, but it's obviously Bose is just a big behemoth. They sell everything from earbuds to crazy good. Their sound bars are really good, actually. Yeah, it's a little crazy. I think I read an article, something about like they wanted to go into the car audio world or something like that.
Well,
Macintosh is there,
all,
aren't you? Yeah.
all of them are in car audio. So I mean, like
Yeah,
Sonos Faber, I don't know how much work they do, but they certainly do license and bring their product into like luxury, Maseratis and stuff like that. Macintosh has done the same thing. Actually, Macintosh has dabbled in car audio since like the 90s.
Aren't
yeah,
they
You
in
can actually
Lincoln
go
now?
find
and Jeeps.
Macintosh. Yeah, they're in
They,
Jeeps.
Yeah,
yeah,
They
because on
have
the
like a
commercial,
Jeep package.
they pan across the front panel of the
Yeah.
car. There's a big Macintosh
And
logo with the little dials and
Bo
everything.
Bose is probably, if not the largest, then one of the top two or three largest automotive audio companies in the world. And so, I mean, I think the reality is that I'm not surprised that Bose was the one doing the purchasing, because they're a massive company. They have
Yeah.
arms and legs and everything. And I mean, this is going to sound like I'm defending them. So just,
No apologize.
I won't apologize. But like, they are probably one of the single biggest acoustic research companies in the world, and as a leader have been for decades and decades. Amir Bose is a genius in that regard. And so, do I think Bose as a company has maybe lost some path or gone down paths, or things have certainly changed since he retired and gave ownership to MIT and all that. But they're still one of the biggest elements out there. And honestly, even if your car doesn't have the Bose badge on the speaker, there's certainly a possibility that Bose was involved in tuning what your car sounds like. Harman's the other big one, right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm glad that like at least an audio brand bought them out, not some hospital
Medical device.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I had to go look it up. I guess McIntosh and Sonos Farber, they were owned by some private equity company from a couple of years ago, and so I didn't even realize that. I thought they were still with one of the other bigger groups, and so they got partitioned off into that. So maybe there's a little part of me that's like, oh, well, at least it's back with another audio parent company.
Yeah.
For whatever that's worth. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And can I put a couple teasers out there? Put my marketing hat on for a second. Well, it is that time of year, and I know everyone's looking for something to buy their wife for the holidays. And what wouldn't she want more than a 170-pound subwoofer? Or wives, you can ask them for that too. But now we got a Black Friday sale going on. I won't overhype it, but we'll also have some Cyber Monday fun. And this is truly an exclusive right here, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it. But for Cyber Monday, we are bringing back the original Ultra Series speakers. You heard it here first on the Shane Lee live stream. We happen to have the ability to get some more, and we did, and we have had a ton of people asking because it was sort of abrupt when we stopped selling the original Ultra Series and launched the Ultra Evolution. So we'll have some of those for Cyber Monday, not for Black Friday, but we got other stuff, our widest arrangement that we've ever done here in terms of Black Friday sale. So you can find details on our site. And then coming up on December 5th, if you happen to be in the Fairfax, Virginia area, we are doing an event called Sonic Thrills with SVS at IQ Home Entertainment. That's in Fairfax, Virginia. It'll be December 5th or 6 p.m. Live demos. We'll be showing off the new subs, the new speakers, having some fun. We'll have some light catering. It's a free event. Do a bunch of giveaways at the end of the night. It's just a great way to kind of experience the products in person, hang out with fellow home theater fans, audiophiles, things like that. We do a little presentation, and you can get Gary's autograph too if you bring a piece of paper, speaker, or something. So who doesn't want that? But yeah, there you go. That's all I wanted to say. So thank you for giving me that platform there, Shane.
Yeah. I'll post some stuff on the community tab as well, because I know you guys sent out the email for the Black Friday promos.
Yeah.
But you guys have killed it in the chat with all of your responses for the giveaway. Obviously, there's just too many for me to scroll up and down to pick a winner right now. But I'm gonna let this run for a couple of days. Then I will. Hopefully, you guys are in the U.S. Should I say that? You got to be in the U.S.
Yeah, U.S. only would be nice. We could probably stretch to Canada, but let's keep it U.S. if we can.
Okay. So I will pick a winner. I'll go through the stream and then all the comments in the next couple of days, and then I'll pick a winner. Let's keep it to U.S. only, as Nick says, and make shipping easier for everybody. And I will pick a winner. I will reach out to you. I'll probably just pop you a message or something like that, direct message. And then, so guys, make sure you check your YouTube account. So if you guys get a little message, it's going to pop up in the upper right corner. Probably, it's going to be from me, most likely, unless you guys really do a lot of chatting on other channels. But it'll be from me, so keep a lookout for that. And so everybody gets a nice fair shot at this giveaway. So you guys will get something nice for Christmas. But thanks, Nick. You guys always bringing in the viewers. Like, this is like my biggest live stream. I don't know how long. Jeez. But
Well, you make it easy. I mean, this is fun. I mean, it's anytime I can get Smith out from doing the engineering thing, it's like it's always such a plus for me because he's just so much smarter. And so like I can do my thing, and then he can be the brains, and I can be the troll, and it's all good.
all right, guys. Thanks for coming by. I'm gonna go watch Gladiator 2. Don't forget to leave your comment down below. Name your go-to name your go-to movie for subwoofer testing. Leave it down below in the comment section. I will pick a winner, and then I will announce it on the community tab or in a separate video. And thanks for watching. Go and check out SVS's live streams. I think you guys do one every week or something.
No, we got a little bit of break. We'll have one the week after Thanksgiving. We're actually going to be doing one from that event at IQ Home Entertainment.
Okay.
It's more of a showcasing the event, but we'll do another one of our normal from home happy hours a week or two after that as well. So we'll always post them on our Facebook, Instagram, etc. You'll be able to find out.
Sweet. All right. So go to svs.com, get your next subwoofer there. Thanks for watching, and